Always You is the name of the song. It is by Louis Tomlinson. And before that, we had Pitbull and Dolly Parton with a song titled Powerful Woman. And speaking of powerful women, just a reminder, you are still listening to The Light Lunch, and I am Amila Skepe. And we have a Rita Van Zyl. Hello, Rita. How are you doing?
Yes, all good. Thanks.
Alrighty. So good to have you here. I'm excited because we have, a lot to unpack. And speaking of which, let me just do an intro on who Rita is, right? So if you love dogs or have furry friends or even curious about animals and their behavior, stick around because we are chatting to Rita Van Zyl. She is from Across the Breeds, one of the top dog training schools in Gqeberha. So she is an incredible background, not with just dogs, but also with marine animals like seals and dolphins. So she's here to share her expertise and training and talk about her amazing company that also manufactures tools, or rather toys, for animals. So your journey into animal training began with marine life like seals and dolphins. How did that experience shape your approach to dog training and animal behavior?
Sure. I always say to people, that was the beginning, and that basically gave me a baseline of training,
yes,
but also understanding of animals and a broader understanding of animals, and that definitely has changed and shaped my understanding. I think that is the place where I realized how important it is to have a relationship, and really respect the animal that you're working with, and also just that really nice baseline of training. And understanding the kind of whole picture. So it really did change my life a lot in many different ways.
Listen, that's incredible. And you know what? They often say that there has to be a mutual understanding between yourself and the animal that you're working with. And I think that you've got that under, your belt, because it's impressive stuff. So you've worked with a variety of animals, and what unique challenges have you faced when training different breeds of dogs compared to the dolphins and seals? What was the silver lining?
Yes. I often say to people, if you think you can train any animal, you haven't really trained or kind of know how to train if you train something bigger than yourself. And I think that is the crux for me, because I think sometimes the dogs have a little bit of a raw deal when it comes to the training, because they're small enough so people that think they can train can kind of push and pull them and hurt them. And I think that is the biggest thing that I've taken from the dolphins and seals, is because they're essentially wild animals. And also they're so big, they're much bigger than us. I mean, the dolphins are in the pool, so you can't push and pull them even if you wanted to. So you definitely have to rely on your training methods to train them, and on your respect and understanding with that animal. So and I think that is the crux, and that we go through and we take through all animals, whether that's dogs, and it doesn't really matter what size the dog is. So if it's a small little dog or a big dog, it doesn't matter what kind of breed it is. The basics stay the same. The respect and the kindness stays the same. The training methods stay the same. Lots of people say that some dogs are untrainable. You can't train them, but that's nonsense. If you're a mammal, in fact, then you are trainable. It's all the same.
That's interesting, considering how, people would kindly assume that there should be, a difference depending on the breed of the animal, or whether it's a dog, whether it's a dolphin. It's easy to assume that there is a difference. But now that you say that it isn't, it's mind-blowing. And so you also run a company that manufactures animal toys. How do your insights into animal behavior influence the design and production of these toys?
One of my big hobby horses, like I always say to people, is brain stimulation for animals, and how to enrich their lives. And, that is normally through toys and how you use toys, because some of the toys that's on the market is brilliant, but people sometimes don't often know how to use it to the maximum extent to help for the brain stimulation and the underlying emotional state, that kind of thing. So I think because I work so closely with them, I sometimes do see there's a small gap. stops, and that's sometimes where it starts. And then, the whole thing just starts growing. My partner, Ruan, he's got extensive history in engineering. So when we kind of start with the idea, he takes it a bit further, and make it happen in very big ways. So together we make quite a good team.
Yeah, I can tell. It's a match made in heaven, like they always say. I know it's a cliche, but you know what? It works. So we'll continue our conversation with Rita in just a few. Let's give Shekinah her time to shine. This song is called Risk. It is featuring Molai. So back to our conversation with Rita. So Rita, I know we touched upon the fact that there's a common respect and relationship with animals, and we also touched on how there's a perspective that some dogs are hard to train. How do you create that bond with dogs now, especially those that are anxious or rather perceived to be difficult to train?
The most important thing, and here I'm talking a little bit more from an animal behaviorist point of view, is the animal has to feel safe. Bottom line. If animals don't feel safe, and actually it's not so far away from humans are exactly the same. If they don't feel safe, they really can't perform. So the animals, doesn't matter what animal, they have to feel safe. And the moment that they feel safe, they actually have a better underlying emotional state. And then from there, they actually then can learn. And they can do stuff, and they can try stuff because they're feeling safe. Now, the underlying emotional state of the animals that is a little bit more nervous or scared, or they're kind of the difficult ones that people label as difficult. It's literally just because their underlying emotional state is very unbalanced, and they're doing stuff to cope and compensate for the stuff they don't know how to do. So most of the time when I go and help people with behavior stuff, the first thing I make sure is to create an environment that is safe for the dog. And sometimes just by doing that, you actually see the animal blossom, and they can start doing better. And then from there, you can start building on the respect and with the training, and start building that relationship. So I think that is basically the crux if you boil it down to the bottom level.
Valid. That is so valid. Safety is important. So just note it. It is important. So now, what common mistakes do you see other people make, like dog owners, and how can your training or toys help with creating order between the two parties?
Yes, they also have a bit of a theory. I always say that I do think that dogs are actually one of the most misunderstood animals that live around us, because we've been living with them for so long, and lots of people think that they know dogs and they know what they're about. So most people don't actually make it their business to try and understand their dogs better. And I think sometimes the missing link, or sometimes where it goes a little bit wrong, is where people also forget that dogs are still dogs. We sometimes want to we love them, they live with us, but at the end of the day, they're still dogs, and they have different needs that is different than us as people. We need to just remember that they're dogs, and the better we understand them, the better we can do for them. And sometimes then we don't even get half as frustrated as we used to, because we understand they're a dog. That's what they do. So I think the understanding about dogs and what they do really does help to breach that. And most of the problem issues won't even happen if there's a little bit of a better understanding about dogs in general.
Nice. So that is beautiful to hear. So what I'm taking from the conversation is the fact that, for your dog to behave and for your dog to be trainable, you have to make it feel safe, and there needs to be an understanding.
Yes, definitely.
So the top two to note is the dog being safe, and for the relationship to have a common understanding between the two parties. Rita, thank you so much. We appreciate you popping in and, letting us in your world of animal behavior, of manufacturing, of, you're a girl boss. Like we say on this particular segment, you're a real girl boss, and keep at it. Sometimes I know they might be a little bit of discouragement here and there, but you know what, keep going, because we also you are an inspiration to some of us as well, because of the work that you do. So thank you so much for joining the Late Lunch today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
You're most welcome.